Hi there. Today it's very cold and my left heat grip is not working anymore. So let's fix it as soon as possible. In this video we will not only fix the heating element, but we will also replace the rubber grips. If you like, you can buy very fancy replacement grips for your Beamer. In this video however, we will replace the grips with stock lookalike grips. You can find these online for a reasonable price at AliExpress. We start by taking off the hand guards. I have the bark busters installed, which is not the stock, so yours might be a little different. Before we continue, let's look at the tools that we will need to proceed. We need a very small T10 Torx to disassemble the switch cluster. This is actually the smallest Torx in my set. Besides the T10, we will need a Phillips screwdriver, a sharp knife, a magnifying glass, and a soldering iron with a bit of tin. Also a heat gun might come in handy, but is not absolutely necessary. And last but not least, we will need a multimeter. Okay, so let's continue. With the T10 Torx, remove the back of the switch cluster. There are 2 screws to remove. Disconnect the 2 connectors. Remove the switch cluster by removing the 2 T10 Torx screws. The grip assembly is screwed by 2 screws to the handlebar. The screws are behind the rubber of the grip. One on top, and one under. We can now remove the grip. Next step is to remove the rubber from the assembly. It is virtually impossible to remove the rubber in one piece, because it is glued to the assembly, especially at both ends. We will remove the rubber very carefully with a sharp knife, making very sure that we will not cut into the copper surface under the rubber. In some cases only one of the two wires is disconnected at the soldered point. If that is the case, just resolder the wire. Using a multimeter we can make double sure the heat grip has a broken connection in the copper line. We can now search for the broken line using the magnifying glass. Carefully inspect all the copper lines. The broken line is hard to see, but still visible here. The cut is almost always on a corner. With a sharp knife we scratch off the insulated surface until the copper line. Using the multimeter we can check if we scratched off enough. With the soldering iron put a little tin over the copper line. Check the rest of the copper lines and repair all the weak spots. Now check if we repaired all the cuts with the multimeter at the connector. We can now place the new rubber back. It is easy if you warm up the rubber with a heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, you can also soak the rubber in boiling water to warm them up. Okay, time to put everything back together again. Now let's test it.